Experts warn the Chinese pandemic may have at least 8 symptoms. The CCP shifts pandemic responsibility to Grassroots, experts warn of impending major outbreak. While the CCP advocates reform and opening up, the 5 risks and 1 shock are sinking the economy. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Experts warn the Chinese pandemic may have at least 8 symptoms. In recent times, the resurging pneumonia epidemic in China has once again begun to manifest globally, causing anxiety among people worldwide. Now, in addition to the 3 pneumonia symptoms reported by the international community, experts from England's National Health Service (NHS) general practitioners state that there may be up to 8 symptoms to watch out for, 5 more than previously reported. This information was reported exclusively by the Daily Star on the 4th. In more detail, Hannah Patel, a medical legal expert from the NHS, disclosed that there are 8 symptoms to be aware of: high fever, sweating and shivering, rapid heartbeat, severe and stabbing chest pain, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing at rest, dry or irritating cough, confusion or blurred consciousness. Hannah explained that pneumonia initiates with an infection of the lungs caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi. This leads to inflammation of the lungs' air sacs, filling them with fluid. Pneumonia can affect one or both lungs, making a person ill rapidly and posing a likely fatal threat. Therefore, seeking prompt treatment is crucial if pneumonia is suspected. She emphasized, while most people recover within 2 to 4 weeks, infants, the elderly, and individuals with heart or lung diseases face a risk of severe illness and may require hospitalization. For weeks, this strange and yet to be identified virus has been causing panic in China, and the world is on high alert regarding its potential to trigger a new wave of outbreaks. The number of hospitalized patients in China has significantly increased, with hospitals in Beijing overcrowded. Although, so far, the virus seems to be predominantly affecting children, officials in neighboring countries like India are cautious about another virus spreading in their populations after the outbreak in 2019 and are preparing to take action. In Indonesia, according to reports from the country's media, it has been observed that the number of children exhibiting pneumonia symptoms is on the rise locally. Indonesian authorities have called for enhanced border surveillance and instructed officials to closely monitor travelers, animals, and goods arriving from China. Meanwhile, Taiwan has heightened its border control measures. As previously reported, 5 Republican senators from the United States Congress have written a letter to President Joe Biden, urging a travel ban between the United States and China in response to the situation. Notably, the virus has also emerged in Europe, with medical officials in Denmark and the Netherlands confirming its local spread. Medical officials in the Netherlands confirmed that the primary targets of this virus are children aged 5 to 14. The number of infected individuals in this age group has risen to 130 per 100,000 people within just 1 week, surpassing the normal quantity of seasonal flu-like diseases during this period in a typical year by more than double. Reports from Denmark also mentioned that within a short span of 5 weeks, the number of infected children has surged from 168 cases to 541 cases, an increase of over 3 times. The World Health Organization, WHO, released a statement on November 22, indicating that they have requested additional information from the Chinese Communist Party. However, during a press conference, whose spokesperson Margaret Harris mentioned that this type of illness is common in winter and does not believe it has the potential for a major pandemic. She encouraged the public not to be overly anxious. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi also affirmed that China's engagements with the international community will remain unaffected by any factors and extended a welcome to more friends from around the world to visit. History often displays remarkable similarities, and this time, the alignment between the CCP and the WHO is strikingly consistent, reminiscent of the initial stages of the pandemic outbreak 4 years ago. The international community harbors deep skepticism about this, with no room for optimism. The last time the coronavirus spread globally, it resulted in a significant loss of lives. The CCP shifts pandemic responsibility to Grassroots, experts warn of impending major outbreak. In response to the critical situation in pediatric departments across the nation's hospitals, the Chinese National Health Commission (NHC) issued a notice on December 4, emphasizing the urgent need to mobilize resources for pediatric diagnosis and treatment services. The directive specifically outlined the redirection of pediatric patients to primary healthcare institutions for initial consultations and follow-up care. A key mandate was that primary healthcare institutions nationwide must open their doors to children and are strictly prohibited from refusing treatment. Wang He, a Chinese affairs expert, provided insights into the significance of this notice. He noted, by issuing this notice, the Health Commission is essentially acknowledging that the pneumonia epidemic is erupting nationwide in China. He underscored the severity of the situation, stating, "The CCP is requiring all grassroots health institutions to open up, indicating that this epidemic is spreading rapidly throughout the country, and the situation is very dangerous." This unexplained pneumonia wave has persisted for 3 months, leading to overcrowded conditions in children's hospitals across various Chinese cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, Changchun, Dalian, Shenyang, Anhui, Shandong, Sichuan, Guangzhou, Jiangsu, Gansu, and others. Expert analysis: CCP concealed epidemic in 3 months and shifts blame to Grassroots. In response to the recent actions of the Chinese National Health Commission (NHC), American virus expert Lin Xiaoxu said that large hospitals are presently incapable of handling the influx of children seeking medical attention. There is a necessity to divert cases to grassroots facilities, and subsequently, the CCP is enforcing cooperation from grassroots healthcare through administrative orders, using administrative means to shift the entire pressure to the grassroots, or saying bluntly is to shift blame to the grassroots. He explained, because the central authorities have concealed the entire epidemic for at least 3 months, how much obstacle does this pose to various regions taking active preventive measures? The officialdom doesn't have to admit it, the central authorities don't have to admit it, and then shift the blame to the localities, making ordinary people feel that even cooperation between local healthcare is lacking, leading to the rejection of children. Wang He added insights into the motives behind the CCP's delayed admission of the epidemic. He highlighted 2 reasons: the CCP's desire to showcase its victory in the previous epidemic and avoid undermining its own image, and the rigid decision-making mechanism within the CCP authorities, which caused a delay in epidemic prevention and control, resulting in significant consequences. Wang He concluded by stating that the consistent policy of the CCP prioritizes politics over the safety and peril of people's lives, especially children, which are considered secondary considerations. While the CCP advocates reform and opening up, the 5 risks and 1 shock are sinking the economy. The leader of the CCP, Xi Jinping, recently conducted a high-profile visit to Shanghai, proclaiming the ambition to transform it into an international economic center, financial hub, trade center, shipping center, and technology innovation hub. He also advocated for a comprehensive deepening of reform and opening up to enhance development momentum and competitiveness with the aim of creating a world-class business environment. Despite the widespread coverage of this move by the CCP and party media, some are questioning why the party leader is endorsing Shanghai, known as a stronghold of the Jiang Zemin faction. The main reason is not to boost Shanghai but rather a response to the economic struggles in China. The CCP is attempting to replicate Deng Xiaoping's 1992 Southern Tour, during which he delivered a speech on reform and opening up, signaling the CCP's commitment to economic revitalization and hoping for contributions from domestic and international funds. However, this Southern Tour 2.0 by the CCP is likely to be ineffective. As long as the CCP remains in power, China's economy will continue to face insurmountable challenges. Tang Hao, a commentator on current affairs, has shared personal insights, describing the fundamental and critical challenges to China's economy as the 5 risks and 1 shock. First risk: high political risk, lack of confidence from domestic and foreign capital. Deng Xiaoping initiated reform and opening up because Mao Zedong's extreme leftist political approach had collapsed the economy, endangering the CCP's rule. Deng quickly adopted capitalist methods to rescue the economy while slightly easing political restrictions to ensure both domestic and foreign funds were willing to invest and had confidence in doing so. However, the current CCP regime is not only enforcing high-pressure authoritarian rule but is also intensifying regulations on businesses and finance. Additionally, the CCP is engaging in aggressive wolf warrior diplomacy, leading to international isolation. The introduction of the counter-espionage law to investigate foreign enterprises, claiming to catch spies, further deters foreign investment. In such a high political risk environment, where can foreign capital be attracted? Instead, it accelerated the exodus of foreign funds from China, resulting in a negative $11.8 billion in foreign direct investment, FDI, in the third quarter of this year, the first negative value since 1998. Therefore, the CCP bears the primary responsibility for the lack of funds willing to invest in China. Second risk, high war risk. Foreign capital and enterprises shun a dangerous country. The Taiwan Strait is currently considered the region with the highest risk of war globally. The constant threats from the CCP to attack Taiwan and statements like Taiwan's elections being a choice between war and peace contribute to this high-risk environment. However, if a cross-strait war were to break out, can China escape unscathed? Will it avoid being affected by the flames of war? That is impossible. In such a scenario, will foreign capital and enterprises foolishly rush to invest in a war zone? Certainly not, unless they are in the business of making earns, right? Third risks, high communist risk. Corporations hesitate as the CCP backtracks, seeking to withdraw investments. In its 20th Congress report, the CCP explicitly stated its goal to achieve common prosperity for all people. Everyone knows that common prosperity is a grand slogan, fundamentally meaning that the CCP wants to collectively own the wealth of the people. In other words, it aims to forcibly confiscate the assets of private enterprises, seizing them for public use. Why? Because the CCP is running out of money. Therefore, the recent call for common prosperity in Shanghai is an attempt to demonstrate this concept in the Yangtze River Delta region first. Tang Hao estimates that when this statement was made, many entrepreneurs in the Yangtze River Delta region lost sleep. Moreover, a recent report by The New Yorker revealed that a business owner in Shanghai mentioned that local CCP governments are financially strained. Consequently, the CCP is using financial institutions to investigate which wealthy individuals possess liquid assets exceeding 30 million yuan, approximately $4.23 million US. It then approaches these wealthy individuals, offering them two options: first, surrender 20% of their assets to the party state government, and second, subject themselves to a comprehensive tax investigation by the government. In other words, the CCP government has become so impoverished that it has resorted to cracking down on the wealthy and redistributing their assets. Either comply and pay up or prepare to face more significant tax penalties. In simple terms, the CCP has returned to its roots as bandits, using the guise of common prosperity to raid and pillage businesses and the wealthy. Consider this scenario. In this unpredictable and nerve-wracking communist environment, who dares to confidently invest in China? On the contrary, we witness a massive outflow of funds as reported by the New York Times, which disclosed that an average of $50 billion per month has been transferred through various channels overseas for risk avoidance. This year has seen hundreds of billions of dollars flow out of the country. Fourth risks, severe deflation threat, feeble consumption, and widespread business slump. As previously reported, despite the Chinese government's denial, various economic indicators, including the Consumer Price Index, CPI, Producer Price Index, PPI, and others, suggest that China's economy is likely on the brink of deflation. Even based on the official data, which tends to be embellished, the actual deflationary situation is likely more severe. We won't delve into the details here. What does deflation imply? It means that the market is reluctant to consume, resulting in reduced demand for goods. Decreased demand for goods leads to a decline in factory orders, subsequently reducing the demand for labor. In simple terms, deflation triggers several critical crises: contraction in consumption, reduction in demand, decline in employment, and subsequently, an economic downturn. Hence, we are witnessing the recent emergence of the new three trends in China, namely the surge in closures, layoffs, and unemployment. These three trends precisely validate the deflationary phenomenon we just discussed. They are interconnected. Consequently, China is likely to face more severe unemployment, significant income declines, and subdued consumption. Mr. Tang said that, in the coming days, China is likely to confront the dilemma of a general business downturn due to excessively low consumption. In such a subdued economic environment, who would be willing to come in and invest? Fifth, risks: escalating epidemic threat, possibility of recurrent city lockdowns and control measures. The precise cause of the ongoing respiratory outbreak in China remains unclear. The authorities claim that 16 viruses are simultaneously circulating, with the outbreak primarily being Mycoplasma pneumonia caused by mold. However, many overseas experts are skeptical and believe it may involve an unknown variant virus or simultaneous infection of the novel coronavirus and mold, leading to severe reactions. Particularly concerning is the fact that while the CCP is reluctant to publicly disclose the details of the epidemic, it is reintroducing the health code domestically and calling for a reduction in gatherings. Shanghai Airport has started nucleic acid testing, and Yiwu in Zhejiang is urging people to stockpile food for more than 10 days. All these measures are familiar and raise significant concerns about the potential recurrence of large-scale epidemics and city lockdowns at any time. It's easy to understand that in such a high-risk environment, who would be willing to invest? One shock: alarming debt defaults. Government and people are short of money. As previously reported, the substantial debt burden of local governments in China is now widely known, with accumulated debts surpassing 92 trillion yuan, equivalent to 76% of China's annual economic output. Consequently, many local governments are now grappling with financial shortages, unable to fund construction projects, pay wages, or allocate resources for future epidemic prevention efforts. If there is a comprehensive resurgence of the epidemic, it could potentially result in more extensive casualties among the population. Adding to the predicament, both the government and the people are facing financial constraints. The latest data reveals that a staggering 8.54 million individuals in China are grappling with debt defaults, finding themselves on the authorities' blacklist. This figure represents 1% of China's workforce, indicating that 1 out of every 100 laborers has gone bankrupt. Furthermore, experts suggest that the current economic downturn has not yet reached its nadir. Now, is the estimation of 8.54 million people facing debt defaults underestimated? That remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that with the government struggling to meet payroll and welfare obligations, coupled with a continued wave of business closures and layoffs, people's incomes are inevitably contracting, leaving them with little to no disposable income. The escalating number of individuals unable to settle their debts further dampens consumer spending. In essence, China's economic landscape, spanning manufacturing, export trade, and the service industry, is poised to continue its sluggish trajectory. In such a challenging environment, few would dare to invest. Therefore, according to Tang Hao, despite the CCP's attempt to evoke the historical slogan of reform and opening up in Shanghai, he contends that the Chinese economy will persist in its downturn and may even be incapacitated to recover. This is primarily because, under the governance of the Communist Party of China, the 5 risks and 1 shock have been instituted, sinking its economic growth and investment. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.